Hey, it's
Hey.
Natalie.
Hey everyone, this is Madeline, and welcome back to another episode of TWT. We thought we would start this semester's podcast off by talking about one of the biggest programs here at TWU, our nursing program. Our week's guest is currently in the TWU nursing program at the TWU Dallas campus and can give you all the current scoop on the nursing program. Please join me in welcoming my friend, Sophia Varkey.
Hi.
Hi, Sophia.
Hi,
Do you want to tell
everybody.
everyone a little? Hi. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Sophia and I go to TW and I've been going to TW all 3 years so far and I'm in J2, so that's my second semester of nursing school.
Period. Fun fact about Sophia and I, we've known each other since middle school. So we
Sixth
go,
grade. Yeah, actually my very
man,
first day, so throwback to Mr. Norris.
I forgot about him. Shout out to Mr. Norris if you are so inclined to listen. So just jumping into the first question. So what made you want to go into nursing?
Yeah, I think that nursing it has a lot of flexibility, and I knew that, if I ever wanted to change my major, I could at least pick one that lets me bounce around a little bit.
Hmm.
So, I feel like anywhere I go within the country and out of the country as well, I can always find a job without having too much stress, and I think that was something that was really important to me. So, definitely it's
Awesome. So,
flexibility. Yeah, I also wanted to be like my own little doctor, so,
oh, love that. So what was the application process like for you when you're applying for like the TW nursing school?
Yeah, the application process for me was naturally stressful, but my deadline was I believe like the first week of February for the
Hmm.
fall semester. So I had started my application, excuse me, in September. And I had been studying for my T's from October to December. Um so I think just getting all of my classes because that
Yeah.
last fall, when I was still in Denton at TW, I was finishing up a lot of the prereqs that were the harder prereqs. So it was a bit stressful, but I think with having like my upperclassmen friends who were in nursing and being able to ask
Hmm.
them and being in Legacy Leaders, which is one of the programs at Texas Women's, I was able to ask a lot of our cohort members about it and they helped a lot. So with that, I feel like the process went by a lot smoother.
Awesome. So I'm glad you had like the upper cohort and stuff. Cause I remember like, cause another fun fact, we like lived right next to each other last year. So I remember like my roommate, like our friend Ria and you, like
Mhm.
everyone like applying to nursing school. So like I remember y'all
Yeah.
going through that process. So I was just
Mhm.
wondering if you could tell everyone like what the TEAS test was in case like they don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah. So the TEAS test is the nursing entrance exam that you have to take in order to apply for nursing school. It just
Hmm.
basically is like it's kind of like a STAR test. It's a readiness test to see what range you are in to make sure that you have the foundation needed for when you start nursing school. So that is math, science, reading, and writing. The science is mainly chemistry, anatomy, um, yeah, mainly just chemistry, anatomy. Within anatomy, there's things like infections, which ties into microbiome, which is another
Hmm.
prereq we had to do. Math was mainly like, I think it was algebra, but it was basically like studying for what is the high school test we had to take to get into college? What was that? That
Oh,
was
the
so long
SATs.
ago. Oh my
I
gosh.
know we're adults, Sophie.
I know. Geez, what was that called? Well, whatever the test is to get into I sound like such like an
SAT.
unintellectual person right now, but it was basically like
Never.
taking that all over again. So
Uh,
so yeah, so oh my gosh, but like for the T's, I would recommend studying in the summer if you're trying to apply for the fall. That way when you're probably still finishing up your fall semester classes, um you're not as stressed out. I think I was definitely stressed out because I was cramming a lot of stuff to get it in. But if you're applying for the spring, um, yeah, you already have summer actually to study for it. So, and I wouldn't wait until the last minute either to take it. You get your results right away, but it helps a lot when you're uploading and making sure you have enough time beforehand to make sure everything goes through smoothly. Yeah.
So either way, everyone, start studying in summer.
Yeah.
Start doing that in the summer.
Honestly,
So I know
you
you
should
said,
probably
oh,
start in eighth
sorry.
grade or something. No, you're good. I was saying you should
Not
probably
the
start
eighth
studying in eighth grade as soon as you take
grade.
chemistry. God.
So I know you said you applied in
Hmm.
February. So when did you find out like when you got in?
Yeah, I actually yeah, so the deadline was I think the first week of February. I submitted mine January 27th and then I found out I think it was March 21st. They were telling everybody that we would find out in April, and for the fall semester people, they usually find out in October. So it took about like a month and a half-ish, I'd want to say.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, she got the
to
dates
get the
down,
results.
y'all.
Yeah, I was actually so I was a TA back then still, or wait, sorry. I
Hmm.
was a TA at the time, and I was running the class since my professor was out, and we were going over a review, and at that time I let everybody, just review it on their own or with their partner, and I was just behind the desk on my computer, and all of a sudden I get all these texts from my friends who were like, "Oh my God, you need to check your email." And at first I was like, "No, it can't be because it's way too early."
Yeah.
And the last time they sent out an email it was just saying, "Oh, we're, going through everyone's application, so it might take a little longer." Um, and then I literally like squealed. I was like, and everyone looked at me as if like my dog died or something. And I was just like, "No, this is like the best." And so it was so cute. So they were like, so it was really exciting.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that was like the biggest relief ever, like when you
Oh my
got
gosh,
in. Like,
yes. It definitely was. Yeah, I was definitely putting all my eggs in one basket for that, but it all worked out. Thank goodness. Yeah.
yeah, now you're look at you now.
Now look at me. I'm starting IVs,
Hey.
doing big girl things.
So, before you got into the nursing program, so you were in the, I like obviously you were in the dentist campus for 2 years. So, what was like your study process like, trying to like for all the pre-nursing classes and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of my studying is teaching based. So what I do
Mhm.
is I learn the material first, so I go over it. I'll lecture, I'll listen to the Panopto recordings. And then I'll teach myself, and then I teach someone else. So I had a lot of
Oh.
friends that were both in the dorms and in my classes. So we would just meet up and we would work on the whiteboards, and I would teach them, what system, why it worked that
Hmm.
way, and just kind of walking through it. So yeah, a lot of my studying was teaching based learning. I think that's what it's called. Um, and then a lot of the memorization just came from doing Quizlets, repetition, and writing it out actually helped a lot.
You know, it's funny. I feel like I remember her doing that to me in the dorm, like the learning or whatever. And I was like, girl, I don't know what you're trying to teach me.
Yeah, honestly, and actually at one point I was teaching my sister and she's like in elementary school right now. She's like, "Girl, I don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "That's okay. You don't need to ask me any questions. I just need to
Like
tell
I
you."
that was like me. She's like, I just need to like explain it to you. And I was like, okay.
You could be like a
So
little nursing assistant.
at this point, the amount of
Hmm.
time I spent with y'all, I should get a nursing degree. They should give me the social work and the nursing degree.
Hmm.
And y'all should get the social work degree. The amount of time we spent with each other doing our
Yeah, 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 for sure.
so when you're on the Denton campus or even the Dallas campus now,
Mhm.
what were the resources you used and like what have you felt like has really helped you with your journey?
Yeah, I feel like the resources were definitely the tutoring centers, especially if you're still doing your prereqs at Denton. They have the science center, in the
Hmm.
science building, and that's where they have, like the lab rooms where you can practice, or sorry, not the lab rooms, but they have this one room and they have like all the models and you can log on to the anatomy website. Sorry, I'm like blanking. I completely forgot what like all the
Kid.
prereq websites are called, but I spent so much. Oh, it's called Slurk. That's what the
That's what I was gonna say. I
place.
was like, isn't that the slurk?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Slurk helps so much. Shout out to Slurk. Slurk helps so so much. Oh my gosh, I spent so much time there. And yeah, they even have tutors there as well, actually. Um, and a lot of them are going into like med majors as well. So it helps asking them questions, and even the professors who were there running the lab, they take time to explain the processes that the models were showing, which helped a
Hmm.
lot. When I was studying for statistics, we had our own tutoring, which was called SIT. So I would go to them when I was taking the course, and they would do lesson plans and we would do worksheets. So a lot of my learning and study process and the resources kind of just tied together.
Hmm.
So I went to a lot of tutoring sessions and then office hours as well. Yeah.
So anyone listening, these are some of the resources that can totally help you because we have someone here who clearly got into nursing school
Mhm.
and used
Yeah,
all
they
these
definitely
resources.
definitely help. Oh my goodness. It
Couldn't have done
alleviates
it
so much
without the
stress.
slurk.
Sorry, Slark.
Is there anything you wish you had done differently before applying or like the application process or
Mm.
anything?
Um, do you mean in the like aspect of what I put on my application that I should have done differently?
If you want, or just, I guess I was
Okay.
just maybe
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna totally cut this part out. So like maybe just
Yeah.
like studying wise or like
Mhm.
how you did the application. Like I don't know if you did things last minute or if you,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess just anything
Yeah.
like you wish you would have like done differently, like the whole
Yeah.
process.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So, some things that I would have done differently for sure is I would have started the short answers a lot sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I did give myself like months to work on it because I knew that I just didn't want to cram it, but um in my scholarship program, we have, bigs and littles, so we have, like, big
Oh.
mentors. Yeah, so one of my, she's super great, and she goes to the Houston nursing campus, and, we were texting and we were FaceTime, and we would go through my application,
Mhm.
but if I had just kind of given myself a little bit more time to work on it, I think it would have been a little better, but honestly, I think what I what I came up with in that time was pretty good, so,
She said, "Don't mean
but also,
to."
I don't know if this was just me. Well, one, I don't personally have a Twitter, so when I was going on the application, it said in, like, the short answer box, what was it, like, 150 characters, and I thought that meant, like, 150 words. So I was, like, typing up this huge
Hmm.
essay, and when I plugged it in, they were like, "Girl, what are you doing?" Like, that's not what that means. But yeah, so, I'm sure there's definitely someone out there who's doing the application and is probably thinking it's 150 words. No, it's not. It's little characters like punctuation and stuff. So give yourself time for that. I would say consider that. Um, and then
Being a character in a word.
yeah, no, honestly. And then, oh my goodness, this is such a big thing also is, um, making sure when you have your transcript, especially if you had transferred from, like, a community college or, any other university to Texas Woman's and then you're applying, is make sure you have that transcript ready and you're making sure that you're sending it, to the right place. Because I know that if you had send it to, I think it's if you send it to the nursing application website, it's different than if you send it to the actual TW school. So just consider things like that.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So making sure there's enough time to upload, that actually does take a minute. And then also when
Hmm.
you're manually putting in your courses, that was another big thing because I got a call back from them and they were saying, "Hey, we're just letting you know, we're still processing your application. You just need to fix these things." So when it
Oh,
comes to
okay.
things like taking AP courses and high school or beforehand, whether that's dual credit as well, um, make sure that you're putting them in the right spot on the actual application modules. So, yeah, basically the whole,
Okay.
spiel is give yourself time because there's a lot of things that go into
Do
it.
not
Yeah.
procrastinate
No,
on the
I know. As a
application.
procrastinator, it's crazy.
Hey, but you got it. You're
Hey, but
in.
hey, we made it here. We
Look at
made
it.
it.
Look at us now.
I know, right?
So now we can move to how
Mhm.
your first semester now past the application. So how's your first semester going?
Yeah, so my first semester was really good. I was definitely stressed. It was definitely a big 180. So all of the study tips that I had,
Hmm.
named off beforehand, it was a whole 180 and I had to completely switch how I learned because now it's not
Oh,
like teaching and all those things were great and they were still applicable for my first semester, but it's not just memorization and I had to learn that so fast. Honestly, within the first week of class, I was like, "Ooh, something's gotta
yeah.
change. This I can't keep rolling with this." So, yeah, a lot of it is application based, which I think was the biggest wake up call. So, um learning to think like a nurse was pretty difficult, especially when you don't start clinicals for like the first 6 weeks, so you don't get to
Oh,
follow an actual
yeah.
nurse and see how she's, you know, interacting with patients and why she's doing certain things. And, there's only so much you can ask certain people too. But your nurse, she's there to literally guide you. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So first semester was stressful in the beginning, but then honestly, after my first rounds of exams, then I kind of gotten on my feet and I knew like the flow of everything, but it's definitely hectic. I will say that right
Hmm.
now. You have exams back to back each week, and then you have like quote unquote 1 week in between, and then you start exams again. So it's definitely rigorous. But if you're strong enough to do the application, you're strong enough to get in, you can handle it.
You're
So
smart enough to do the whole thing.
I know it's basically like going to military school. It felt like like training, like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, and yeah, a lot of mental
Yeah.
preparedness actually. Yeah, yeah. Maybe let me not equate it to military boot camp, but it was definitely a lot of It felt like it, yeah.
So I know you
Mhm.
talked about like finding your flow and stuff. So do you have any like self-care kind of techniques you do just to kind of like after like the long days and the
Mm,
studying, just like kind of
mm-hmm.
find yourself?
Yeah, no, for sure. I honestly, I didn't ever do self-care until I got into nursing school. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Mm,
Like to the degree that I had to do self-care in nursing school was different than before. So instead, like beforehand, if we had exams, probably one of my friends and I, we would, go get lunch somewhere or we would go get a snack or like treat ourselves basically. Um, but now I do that and then I just take either that exam day and maybe even the next day off. Like just I need to
oh,
not look at anything and I need to just resettle my brain because so much of it isn't cramming, but it's also so much content in such little time. So I've learned that when I did let myself kind of have that mental breather, I did a lot better on the next exams, and I understood the material a lot more. So yeah, I'd say take your day off. Honestly, if you need a day or two, but then it's you got to get back in that flow. So
yeah.
TV helps, TikTok helps. Love TikTok. TikTok's my favorite.
TikTok is our bestie.
She is. Oh my gosh. And then you're in deep because all my For You page is nursing stuff. So,
I know I just
wow.
got one from one of our friends today with like some kind of nursing thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not even in nursing.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do, whatever
Gotta
helps.
do what you gotta do. Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, let
So,
me tag on really quick. For resources as well,
mhm.
YouTube will also be your best friend.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I
that's a good
thought, I don't
one.
know why I thought like, like looking things up on YouTube, like I couldn't do it. Like I didn't know, like I felt for some reason that that was cheating. It's not. It's literally there for you to use. So, yeah, any topic that you find confusing, I would say YouTube is probably gonna save you the most time, and it's gonna
Hmm.
make out of your time the best, for actually understanding things rather than just like reading over and over
Yeah,
and over, unless that's your learning style. So,
that
yep.
definitely helps because I started like I would watch videos for like stats and stuff, and I was like, well, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, where was this my whole life?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just one last question before we
Mm-hmm.
go. So, is there any tips you can give listeners for applying to nursing school? Just any last tips, any last words?
Yeah. I know that for nursing, since it's so competitive and you want to try to stand out, one of the things that I learned actually from my big is she said to get like CPR certified. One, actually, they want you to do that within a certain range,
Hmm.
so that it doesn't expire. But if you have some type of medical background, whether that's, already being CPI training and certified, because there's a section for certificates. So putting that on there will help your application a lot. That, and I would highly recommend being some type of medical technician. I worked at an optical center and I was the
Hmm.
technician for that, and I also worked front desk. So I had a lot of patient interaction. That is great on an application. A lot of my friends that I met in nursing school actually are PCTs, which are patient care techs. So
Oh,
they're
okay.
basically the guy or the people that take the vital signs. They interact with the patients a little bit more when your nurse is, managing her other patients. So when you first enter nursing school, you're just learning the basics, right? Like you're learning to take vital signs, which are blood pressure, heart rate, and doing things on the monitor. So I think if you have that leg up, it helps a lot because you actually see the patient's file and you can see what medications, and you just get a little bit more familiar rather than um you kind of have like a little bit more support rather than going in as blindly as I did. So um
Yeah.
having some, little job experience helps with that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, like hands-on, just like something. So not like
Yeah, and I would
official social work, because like being like
mhm.
actually like doing volunteer stuff. Because they
Mhm.
had us do that like that first semester. I feel that like really helped me like even just like classes. Like, oh, I did this like when I was volunteering, and it was just like it really
Yeah.
just like helped.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for both social work and nursing, you're working with the public, and the best way to get experience with that,
Mhm.
because you can read it in a book, but when you actually apply it, it sticks a lot better.
Yeah.
So getting that experience of, talking to people and seeing what it's actually like, because honestly, if I had worked as a PCT, it probably would have helped me adjust a lot easier actually as well.
Mhm.
So, using your resources. Another tip. Hmm. Um, sorry, I'm having like a brain fart. You can totally obviously cut this part out, but
No, I'm gonna leave it in.
um, definitely had so many though. That's so many of those
If you
today's
don't have
classes.
another
Like,
tip,
what are we
it's
talking
fine.
about? Yeah. Okay. I think that was what did I even just say?
I don't know. I was looking at your sister because she's cute.
um, yeah.
We're talking
Oh,
about
these
hands-on
said
experience,
tips for applying to nursing school. Yeah.
or just
Oh,
anything. Doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the job one is honestly the best tip. Yeah, having certificates, having some type of medical background,
Hmm.
um, applying, starting early. Yeah. I hope that was
Perfect.
helpful.
All right, y'all. So that concludes our episode. Thank you so much, Sophia, for joining us and
Yes,
talking about
thank you
all
for
things
having me.
nursing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we all know that it can clearly be a hard process, but Sophia here is living proof that she did it and she conquered.
And you can do it too.
So my name is Madeline, and thank you all for listening to yet another episode of TWT. Until next time, pioneers.